A royal commentator has shared what she believes was Prince Harry's strategy to cast King Charles in a negative light. And this time, many believe Prince William was paying close attention.
Positioning King Charles as the bad guy because Harry's father of the year. He wants to bring the kids over because the kids really want to see the UK. But, you know, if things don't work out, it's because of his mean dad. And that's just not reality.
The confusion surrounding Harry's visit to the UK didn't seem random, at least according to this theory. Stay until the end to see why some commentators believe Harry tried to create the impression that the king didn't care enough about his own son or his grandchildren. Kinsey Schofield has been covering the royal family for years and has become a familiar voice in royal discussions. She regularly interviews royal author Tom Bower and is often among the first media figures to break down his latest reporting and newly released books.
I'm Invictus. I'm livid because he's supposed to be coming over here to promote 1 year to Invictus, the big Birmingham Games next year. Is this all a ploy to make his father look bad, to manipulate his father to feel obligated to show up next year united with Harry at the Games, which I've heard forever is Harry's ultimate objective, to get that, you know, royal seal of approval by having members of his family at the Games?
According to Kinsey, when Harry first announced he would be traveling to the United Kingdom for Invictus Games preparations and rehearsals, very few people treated it as major news because everyone already knew the Games would be held in Birmingham and expected him to be there anyway. But then, according to Kinsey, when that announcement didn't create the level of attention some expected, Harry raised the stakes by saying Meghan and their children would also be coming to the United Kingdom.
Just say he's been using those kids as emotional blackmail, trying to get Charles to stick his nose in and change that decision just so he can get to see his grandchildren. Charles saying, look, I cannot do that, nor would I do that. It's outside my remit. I don't make decisions about royal security.
And Harry's team actually accusing Prince William of having somebody on the Ravic committee that is conspiring against him, and that is not true.
Of course it's not true.
That immediately sparked fresh headlines and widespread discussion. Critics argued the announcement drew even more public interest and sympathy toward the trip. One question that kept coming up was why Harry appeared so focused on shaping the public conversation from the very beginning. Some commentators wondered why the situation unfolded in a way that encouraged people to keep guessing. Early reports suggested Meghan and the children would travel with him.
I believe for a moment Meghan was ever going to come to the UK, let alone London. And you know, everybody's talking about reconciliation, Harry reconciling with his father, his father seeing the grandchildren. Let's not forget Thomas Markle. Thomas Markle hasn't seen his grandchildren at all, although the king did in 2022, and he's never met his son-in-law. So, you know, is reconciliation on both sides. Let's not just make it one-sided.
Later, as security concerns became the biggest topic, Harry announced he would be making the trip alone instead. Kinsey argued that Harry may never have intended for Meghan and the children to visit the UK at all. In her view, he always expected to travel by himself, but allowed public speculation about his family's possible visit to continue because it kept the story in the headlines and encouraged sympathy. She claimed Harry knew the trip involving Meghan and the children was unlikely, yet the uncertainty remained for days.
Harry was setting the palace up to continue to pit them as the villains in this story. And then watching the way this is all unfolded today, watching you on GB News, watching you jump on Instagram and be like, behind the scenes, this is what's going on, it kind of solidified that feeling that Harry wanted to not get what he wanted so that he could go, look, I'm still the spare, I'm still the rejected son, my father doesn't love me.
That raised another question among critics. If the answer was already known, why let the speculation continue for so long? According to Kinsey, the ongoing mystery generated even more media attention and kept public interest focused on his visit. The conversation shifted again when Harry's spokesperson announced that Meghan and the children would not travel because of concerns about security arrangements. That statement quickly led some commentators to argue it created the impression that King Charles had failed to ensure conditions were suitable for his grandchildren to visit. Some critics believed the message suggested that if King Charles truly wanted to spend time with his grandchildren, he would have done everything possible to make the visit happen safely.
That his father had extended an invitation to stay in one of the royal residences.
Which is true. His father had extended this invitation.
There was a deadline, ladies and gentlemen, because you can't just go, well, I'm going to go and stay at Buckingham Palace to security and cleaning and all that sort of thing. Bits are open to the public.
It's not a Holiday Inn.
No, it's not a Holiday Inn. There's no fruit machine in reception. Been there a couple of times myself.
Others argued this fit with Harry's long-running position that he does not believe the current security situation in Britain is appropriate for his family. Then came what Kinsey described as the most surprising part of the entire situation. Reports said King Charles had initially asked Harry about his travel plans, and even offered him a place to stay when it appeared he might be visiting with his family. However, according to those reports, Harry did not provide the king with a clear answer about exactly what his plans would be. There were also reports claiming Harry first turned down the accommodation before later changing course and trying to arrange a stay at the palace.
The truth is, he responded with a rejection on Saturday, and they said, great, we're taking that information back to the team. He came back later on Saturday and said, I've changed my mind. I just want to come for one night. And they said, you missed the deadline. And we were planning, we had a team, we were putting a team together for a family of 4, plus some, whoever else they wanted to bring. And now we're not going to readjust at the last minute for one night for one person.
By the time that reportedly happened, the offer had already been withdrawn. Some royal watchers believe the palace recognized the situation was becoming increasingly complicated and chose not to get pulled into further public speculation or controversy. But this whole situation leaves people with plenty of questions. Why did the plans keep changing? Why did everything take so long? And could all of this have been avoided if both sides had communicated more clearly? According to reports, when King Charles first offered Harry a place to stay, Harry had not yet finalized his private security arrangements. Before accepting the invitation, he reportedly wanted those plans settled first. Only after those arrangements were completed did Harry officially accept the king's offer.
William is furious. The rest of the royal family are furious, and I think from what you were saying about what the king is now saying, quite clearly King Charles, a gentle soul who doesn't like confrontation, is seething.
Harry's team has argued that the palace didn't give him enough time to respond and withdrew the accommodation too quickly. Others see the story very differently. According to reports, palace officials believed Harry was no longer interested in staying there after receiving mixed signals. As travel plans continued to change, staff reportedly had to keep adjusting schedules, security planning, and logistics. After several last-minute changes, officials are said to have decided they couldn't keep working around the uncertainty surrounding the visit.
Horses, Prince Harry isn't staying. The reason being is because Harry formally declined that invitation on Saturday morning. Then later on in the day, Buckingham Palace says, he changed his mind and said, no, I am going to stay in Buckingham Palace, thank you very much. Then Buckingham Palace wrote back saying, it's too late. Because logistically, it's quite hard to get all the staffing in place.
Meanwhile, many reports suggest Prince William has grown increasingly frustrated by the repeated public disagreements. From his reported point of view, every new controversy becomes another distraction for the royal family. If Harry is trying to present King Charles in a negative light, as some commentators believe, William would likely see that as another criticism aimed at the monarchy itself. Reports also suggest William has never fully moved past the Oprah interview, Harry's memoir, and the many interviews that discussed private family matters in public. Seeing another disagreement centered on security and the royal institution has reportedly added even more tension to an already strained relationship.
Hey, I'll tell you who else. Let me tell you who else is seething right now, Kevin. The Invictus leadership. This trip was supposed to be about the veterans. This trip was supposed to be a kickoff to the 1 year in Birmingham for the Invictus Games.
Kinsey Schofield believes Harry continues to view many of these disagreements through the lens of being treated unfairly. In her opinion, each new dispute becomes another example supporting that belief. She argues this has developed into a repeated pattern where Harry often places himself at the center of the conflict rather than acknowledging how his own decisions may also have shaped events. Critics argue that this approach can sometimes have the opposite effect. Instead of increasing public sympathy, they believe it can leave some people feeling Harry has contributed to many of the situations that later become public controversies. King Charles also faces a difficult balancing act. If he helps Harry, some critics could accuse him of giving special treatment to his younger son. If he chooses not to help, others may portray him as an uncaring father and grandfather. Either choice has the potential to create another wave of headlines, leaving the king in what many royal observers describe as a no-win situation. Some royal commentators also believe public sympathy for Harry may be fading. They argue the ongoing family disputes are beginning to overshadow his charitable work. There are even concerns that continued headlines about royal tensions could distract attention from the Invictus Games and the injured veterans the event was created to honor. So what first looked like a straightforward visit to the UK has, according to Kinsey's interpretation, become something much bigger. The announcement about the family, the security debate, and the days of public speculation all continue to spark debate. Whether this was a carefully planned media strategy or simply a series of unfortunate events remains a matter of opinion. What do you think? Was this all part of a deliberate effort to shape public opinion, or has the story been blown out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who follow the royal family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.